Roxanne. Roxanne Louise is a longtime dowser, hypnotherapist, and Reiki master who has presented many times at the American Society of Dowsers, as well as at the West Coast Conference and the Southern Dowsing Conference. Since 1992, she has taught at several national hypnosis conventions every year, many other conferences, including the U.S. Psychotronics Association and others. She's won 6 top national awards in hypnosis, including one for her lifetime achievement, and was named last year's ASD Educator of the Year. I'm going to put the rest of her bio on the chat so people can see it, but for the sake of time, I would like to now introduce Roxanne Louise, a former president of the American Society of Dowsers. Okay, Roxanne?
Yes, thank you. Well, talking about global issues, we certainly have a lot to work on recently. And the I'm sorry you can't see the screens, the slides I created for this, so I'm going to be speaking from them. And if you have any questions as we go along, you can put it in the chat. I will not be at any of the rooms since that's not really a good place to answer your questions, but you can contact me. Okay, so dowsers have already been solving a whole lot of world problems. I mean, traditionally dowsers find underground needed resources like water and fuel sources and oil and gold, silver, minerals, and ore, and they locate and clear geopathic zones. They locate anything from broken pipes, unexploded bombs, missing persons, and because they do troubleshooting and problem solving, they can work on literally anything. So whether it's health or business or mental, emotional healing or agricultural, animal husbandry, inventions, technology, mechanics, engineering. So dowsers already are working on a host of world problems. But can dowsing solve man-made problems like pollution or crime or diseases or corruption or food production, environmental degradation? Well, yes, to the extent that dowsing does any kind of problem solving and uh, getting ideas and information through the greater consciousness system. And dowsing can do a work on all of those things. It can be a big addition, a big help. But the next question is, can dowsing heal the dark side of humanity that cause these and other problems? So can dowsing heal unbridled greed? Can it help to mitigate those people that knowingly harm another person or the planet for profit or personal gain? In other words, for example, can you use dowsing to get Monsanto to quit? um, can you use dowsing to send healing, to correct apathy or lack of compassion or stubborn ignorance or deceit, mind control addictions or lust for power and control or cruelty? And again, if you think of dowsing as sending intention, we're working with consciousness, and consciousness is underneath every single problem. Thomas Campbell, who is a physicist, said unless we change, real permanent change isn't going to happen. But as we grow and evolve in consciousness, our leaders and our systems will reflect that. And so American Lakey said that whatever's right and wrong in our world is exactly what is right or wrong within the human heart. Marianne Williamson has said there's a revolution occurring in the world today, but it's not fought with armies and it does not aim to kill. It is a revolution of consciousness. We need to heal our thinking in order to heal our world. A revolution in consciousness is our greatest hope for the future of the world. So that's what we're going to be talking about on how you can use dowsing to actually heal consciousness. And it starts with ourselves. So actions and inactions are both born of consciousness. Consciousness is both the generous of every problem, and it's a solution as well. Stephen A. Schwartz said, we're in this matrix of consciousness, we're all life, and consciousness is interconnected. And we cannot really design the solution to world problems unless we recognize that working with consciousness is one of the ways we can achieve not only personal well-being, but social well-being as well. He continues, you have the power through your intention to literally alter the circumstances of your physical surroundings and the structure of reality. So how can dowsing heal and shift consciousness? Well, first, you can set up an environment in which healing can occur. And this can be removing interfering non-beneficial energies, whether they're geopathic zones or non-beneficial portals, dark energies of any kind, detrimental mass consciousness. And we are going to do that today. You can remove anything interfering with people being able to connect to source. One of the things I have noticed in my own dowsing is that sometimes I feel like there's a block to me connecting to my true spiritual guidance. It's actually like what you call a mind grid. And those mind grids are deliberately placed there that then it's part of the dark energies that need to be removed. By routinely grounding, centering, and connecting to source, you are going to be coming from the best place where you can think clearly, and the decisions and the actions are going to be coming from the best place. You can also work to enhance your overall health and strengthen your energy field for the same reason. You can't be thinking clearly and come from a balanced emotional, mental place if you're not well. So dowsing can heal vulnerabilities. I call them hooks to detrimental energies. And at the West Coast Conference, I'm speaking on getting the hook out. I'm going to go through all the many kind of hooks there are. The hooks are both internal, such as your unhealed emotional wounds, and external, like detrimental energies that are out there. You can heal anything that lowers your vibration. And if you start being aware of when you feel less than your best, you want to go look for what's going on and address it. By resolving your own issues and sensitivities and wounds, you're going to be coming from a balanced place. So, for example, when something happens, whether it's the recent killing of George by police officers, if you have ever experienced racial prejudice, for example, or you've had a run-in with the police yourself, you're going to react a whole lot more. Now, in this case, we have a video what went on, but maybe you didn't have a video, maybe you just heard about something. You're not going to stop to really think, well, did that really happen? If you've had a bad experience similar to that yourself, you're going to immediately believe the worst. So when you resolve your own issues, you're not going to react without thinking. You're going to come from a much more balanced place. And any action you take to redress a wrong will be also from a much wiser place. So we need to resolve our own issues, our sensitivities, and wounds. When you heal then a big thing is that you can direct healing to the consciousness within you that created, contributed, or allowed a problem to develop and occur. But you can also take a bigger issue, a global issue, a national issue, a regional issue, and direct healing to the consciousness underneath that action, that event, that situation. So you can choose to send divine healing energy to heal the consciousness underneath the problem. And this you can do without, uh, with a clear mind that you are going to be doing something positive. You're not manipulating. You don't have to be concerned about having all the facts or not, because you're leaving it up to the divine to do it. You can always work on removing any resonance that you have with the problem. And you can create an identity, a self-identity, as someone who acts in a way to create a healthy world and society. Now, we are going to be dowsing, and if you have a pendulum, grab it. If you don't have a percentage chart, I'm going to show you that you can douse with your hand. So, for example, you take your non-dominant hand, and so that's my left hand. And that means when it's turned this way, my thumb would be 0% or strong no. My index finger is 25% or partial no. My middle finger is 50% or neutral. My ring finger is 75% and a partial yes. And my pinky is 100% or a strong yes. So you can douse right over your palm. So on a scale of 0 to 100, to what degree am I holding stuck energy on this issue? Okay, so dowsing is not as simple just picking up a tool, a pendulum or something else, and immediately doing something. There is a preparation, because the dowsing, there's no magic. I mean, there are people who will argue with me, but there's no power. There's no real power in the tool. The power is within. Some tools may assist, but the power is within yourself. So to get into that place where you can get more, get accurate answers, or at least move towards greater accuracy, the first thing you want to do is affirm and step into your personal power. You have to be fully here and present. So just taking your pendulum right now, say on a scale of 1 to 100, on a scale of 1 to 100, to what degree is the overall strength of my energy field right now, and see what it says. So you got that? All right, now I want you to, with your feet on the floor, I want you to actually claim the ground you walk on. You have a right to be here. You have something of value to offer. Claim the ground you walk on. And I want you to gather your strength, and we're going to then go to ground. So with your feet on the floor, grow roots down into the earth or plug into the earth, and pull energy up through your feet, up through your legs, loop it up over your head and back down. Pull up through your feet, pull it up through your body, and do a couple rounds of that. You will know when you're starting to actually tap into that earth energy when your legs start to tingle. Get it that far. Get it that energy to start coming up your feet and into your legs. Once you have that, imagine a narrow beam going straight up your spine and up your head and out. And allow all your mental clutter to come into a narrow line. So bring your focus of your mental attention into a narrow line, and then connect to this golden ball of light, or what you consider your source, the divine source of healing energy, to your high self, the source of all that is, your greater consciousness system. I don't care what you call it, but it is that field we tap into. In fact, Lynn McTaggart calls it the field. So now you connect there and then pull that energy in. So like one hand up and one hand down, you're connected to heaven and earth. Okay. Next thing you want to do is increase your energy field. So you can take your pendulum again and spin it clockwise, and please increase my aura up to and my energy field up to the highest amount possible at this time. Okay, now you can go say, now where is my energy field right now? What is my strength? And did it go any higher? Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is neutralize and clear mass consciousness. Now, mass consciousness is any thought or emotion shared by a wide group of people. So during 9/11, the mass consciousness was of grief, of shock, of fear, of anger. And right now we have all those same emotions going on. And when a large group of people, when it becomes intense, that energy can be so powerful that it prevents us from sleeping, it interferes with our digestion, we feel a little off, uh, and we may overreact to ordinary challenges in our life because we're already super stressed. It's coming in from outside. So you want to clear that outside, that let me say it again. You want to clear the detrimental effect of mass consciousness upon yourself. And then what you can do is start neutralizing that mass consciousness out further and further, more and more miles away from you. Now, Susan Fielder remarked to me the other couple days ago, or I think I heard her mention somewhere that mass consciousness is 10 miles radius. Actually, it's much further than that because of media. So if you're on the internet and you're listening to a broadcast, the broadcast can be thousands of miles away, but if it evokes strong emotions and thoughts within you, it's going to affect you, even though it's very, very far away. So on a scale of 0 to 100, I want you to check the level of mass consciousness of fear that you're holding right now. Where is that? What is your level of mass consciousness of fear that you're feeling right now? Just notice. Okay, what's the mass consciousness of depression that you're holding right now? What's the mass consciousness of grief you're holding right now? And what's the mass consciousness of apathy? And the mass consciousness of hopelessness? Just notice. So at the end, we're going to calibrate again. So holding your pendulum, let's hold a very strong intention, and you can either repeat it in your mind or out loud. And here you go. Neutralize all blocks to clearing the detrimental effect upon me and others of the mass consciousness of fear that has come from any source, internet, news media, social media conversations, or the psychic airways. I'll say it again. Neutralize all blocks to clearing the detrimental effect upon me and others of the mass consciousness of fear that has come from any source. Good. Now, I always start with clearing blocks first because there's no point to go straight to clearing the detrimental effect if there is in fact a block, or the neutralizing anything else. You want to first make sure there's no blocks in the way. So let's neutralize neutralize the detrimental effect upon me of the mass consciousness of fear. Take action with the pendulum. Let me know when you're done. If you see me shaking, that's when I feel a shift. Okay, neutralize the negative effect of mass consciousness upon me from any and all sources regarding anything. Neutralize the detrimental effect of mass hysteria about the coronavirus, lockdowns, anything to do with the past few months. riots. Okay. Neutralize all excessive, unwarranted fear and panic from my consciousness. So there is both warranted fear and unwarranted fear. In other words, if you have a tiger in the room, that's warranted fear. But there's unwarranted fear about the tigers when you don't even live in an area where there are tigers. So that would be unwarranted fear. So delete all excessive, unwarranted fear and panic from my consciousness. Delete all falsehoods or lies that are causing or contributing to any unjustified fear or panic. So many times we hear things, but what we hear is a rumor. It hasn't been really verified. So we don't have to be stressed out about something that may not be true. And there's a part of you that knows what's true from false, I believe. So I routinely say delete all. Uh, um, when I go to bed at night, I say review everything I heard on the internet or read on the internet today. Delete anything untrue and uh, delete anything that is unlikely to ever happen. Delete everything that's of things that will never happen. And so then I get rid of that and I only ask my unconscious mind to hold on to what is relevant and appropriate for me to focus on. Okay. Delete all victim mentality. Delete all feelings of doom. Delete all feelings of helplessness to protect myself or my loved ones and whatever else I hold dear. Delete any beliefs or expectations of getting this virus or any other disease. Delete any illness programs. I'll just say something about that. You can create an illness program uh, because of specific emotions. So we're not talking about lifestyle where, for example, smoking a great deal, you're setting out yourself up for illness. But we're talking about illness programs are things that are more of a mental and emotional level that are setting you up for programs to have illness. A lot of diseases can be correlated to specific traumas or shocks. And the German New Medicine is all based on that. Okay, going back to the pendulum. For myself and all others that desire it on a soul level, neutralize the mass consciousness of unwarranted fear and panic within 5 miles of each person's physical location. So now we're going to clear the general environment, but we're offering it. We're not saying this is what's going to happen to you. We're saying, okay, this is something you can, if you want it on a soul level, if your high self wants this for you, we can be the intercessor to offer the healing we've done for ourselves for anyone else. Okay. For myself and all others that desire it on a soul level, neutralize the mass consciousness of unwanted fear and panic present within 10 miles of each person's physical location. Within 20 miles. Within 30 miles. Within 40 miles. Within 50 miles and beyond. For both myself and others that desire it, neutralize the mass consciousness of doom, hopelessness, and victim mentality within 5 miles of each person's location. 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles and beyond. Neutralize the mass consciousness of anything draining the energy or lowering the immune system of myself and others in accordance with their highest good and soul's desires. For 5 miles, within 10 miles, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles and beyond. Okay, when you're done, go back and say on a scale of 0 to 100, what is the overall detrimental effect upon me right now of the mass consciousness, and see what you get. Okay, so you're not seeing this chart, but David Hawkins wrote a interesting book called Power versus Force, and many people have talked about his scale. The publisher does not want me to talk about his scale, or uh, uh, but the fact is, it has been so widely quoted, it's unavoidable. He felt that there were certain emotions that caused inertia. In other words, not taking action. So if you're going to correct world problems, you need energy. It takes energy to correct problems, a lot of it. And so the emotions that he felt were particularly problematic were those of shame, guilt, apathy, grief, and fear. And then there were other emotions that he put in the classification of hyperactivity. In other words, now instead of not doing anything, you're doing so much. You're on a gerbil's wheel. And these are desire, anger, and pride. I'm not going to be talking about those, but desire can be good. Everything is how it's utilized. Anger can be very helpful for people to get off the couch and actually take action when before they weren't doing anything. Pride, again, I believe this is not. I'm not speaking about Hawkins, but pride can be uh, good or not good depending on how it's challenged. And then we get into the areas of courage, trust, optimism, forgiveness, understanding, love, gratitude, joy, and finally peace. So if we want to work on healing global problems, or we want to heal the consciousness that is underneath the global problem, then you want to start with healing these other emotions that will drain your energy, and then also get up there and start dealing with anger as well. If you can get yourself to really be in a state of forgiveness, which is part of the practice of Ho'oponopono, that forgiveness will do a great deal. If you followed the work of Dr. Yulin, who was a psychologist with Hawaii State Hospital, he did not see any of the patients in this very dangerous ward. Rather, he held their file, and as he was holding the file, he took responsibility for the condition of these people. And he said, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you." We'll see how much time we have to get to that. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to again douse on specific emotions. So taking your pendulum again, on a scale of 0 to 100, what is the percentage of negative emotion I am holding on shame right now? Just notice where it is. What is the percentage of negative emotion I'm holding on guilt? Apathy, grief, fear, hopelessness, depression, feeling like a victim. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is pick one with the highest percentage. And so we're going to do this. We're going to ask your dowsing system to locate the root cause or first event that's responsible for that stuck energy that you're holding, and then you'll say what the emotion is. Okay? And so when your unconscious mind, your dowsing system, locates that first event responsible for that stuck energy of that specific emotion, it's going to stop spinning. And then we're going to ask it to evaluate everything about it in order to find the positive learning and save it as part of your wisdom. And then we're going to ask it to release that stuck energy and then go on to the next event and the next event and next event and do the same thing. And when we're all done, we're going to ask the high self of any other souls that desire it to duplicate that healing for themselves in a way that's most appropriate for them and their highest good. So let's start. Okay, so with holding your pendulum, locate the root cause or the first event responsible for any stuck energy that I'm holding on the emotion of. You got it? Now, evaluate everything about that first event to find the positive learning and save it as part of your wisdom. So what is it that you're on an unconscious level? This is not for you to know consciously. What can you find on an unconscious level? What value can you pull out of that experience? What positive value and learning? Okay, once you have that, say, all right, now let's release all the stuck energy on that event now. You'd be spinning on a counterclockwise and then stop when you've done it. Okay, go to the next event for which I'm holding any stuck energy on that same emotion. Take action with the pendulum. Find the positive learning and save it as my wisdom, and then release all stuck energy on that event now. So I'm going to ask your dowsing system, your unconscious mind, now to repeat all those steps on any other events that are related to the stuck energy that you're holding on that emotion, whether it's shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, hopelessness, depression, or feeling like a victim. Okay, so now I want you to imagine, let's imagine a line, and at the far end is the beginning of your soul. Here's now, and here's the future. So here it's the timeline of the when you were first created as a soul and at the end of the time and all your lifetimes in between. I want you to imagine taking that and into a circle. And we're going to ask to go, we now have the intention to go round and round all of your time to share the positive learning throughout every bit of time and release any remaining stuck emotion that of that kind that you didn't get fully clear away. Okay? As soon as you're done with that, let's ask the high self of any other souls that desire it duplicate the same healing for themselves in a way that's most appropriate for them and their highest good. Take action with the pendulum and let me know when that's done. And so each time you heal yourself, you're making it easier for the next person to heal. And each time you offer the healing to others, then you're also helping to lift the vibration of everyone around you. Okay, let's do another exercise, and I don't know if we'll have any much more time beyond that. Okay, let's do a fast clearing exercise. I'd like you to write down, if you have a pen and pencil, write down an issue you have in your personal life. Actually, yeah. Okay, we'll do this quick, and I will have to add one more thing. Okay, so now on a calibrate, on a scale of 0 to 100, what's the percentage of stuck energy you have on that issue? You're going to write down the issue you have in your personal life. You're going to calibrate the percentage of stuck energy. I did this with technology yesterday. And then hold the pendulum over what you've written. And with the pendulum, say, removing counterclockwise, resolve everything around that issue and neutralize any resonance of it within myself. Resolve everything around that issue and neutralize any resonance of it within myself. Neutralize any resonance of that issue passed down to me from anyone else, such as ancestors in this or any other lifetime. Neutralize any secondary gain or further need or benefit that I'm getting out of that issue to continue. Erase any projections of that issue that I have put out into my future timeline. Okay, once you have that, write down what you'd like to experience instead. What else would you like to write down? If you don't have anything to write with, you can just say it as we go along. With the pendulum spinning clockwise, let's energize the present moment with what you want to experience instead and send it out into the future. So, do you want joy or love or harmony or balance or cooperation, respect? What is it that you want? Energize the present moment with what you want to experience. And if it's appropriate, let's offer that healing to anyone else that desires it. When you're done, go back and calibrate the percentage of stuck energy you have. Then you can calibrate the percentage of positive energy that you put into the present and the future. All right, now we're going to get more into a global issue or problem. I want you to either draw or write down a problem that bothers you in the world, whether it's human trafficking or it's prejudice, whether it's um, dirty the chemtrails, whether it's 5G, whatever it is. what's the problem that bothers you? And once you have written down what it is that bothers you, you might as well, while we're writing things down, write down what you'd like instead. Now, I would, when you come to sometimes, if you're talking about a politician, for example, you don't like this particular politician, uh, I would advise not saying something about, I want this politician gone, locked up, whatever, because I would let the solution, you can write down the specifics of what bothers you, but I would leave the solution up to source, that it be the highest, because of this whole issue. It's very difficult to know the truth of what's going on a global scale. And so there are a lot of people shouting, oh, this is what is going on, but they have an agenda or they're not well informed. So just to avoid that, you are sending out an intention that may turn out to be against your highest good, put the solution in the hands of the divine or your high self, that it be for the highest good of you and and the world. Okay, so now that you've written down the problem, calibrate your percentage of stuck energy on it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your pendulum down and put your hands actually on your paper. And again, ground, center, and connect to source. And once you feel yourself connected to the divine healing energy, pull that divine healing energy down from your crown and out your hands with the intention to heal the root cause of that problem you've written. You're sending it to the root cause of the problem, not the problem itself, but what is underneath that problem. And continue to send that healing energy until you feel a shift. So go ahead and do that. I may continue to talk as you're doing it. And when you feel that there's been a shift, then you can calibrate again the amount of stuck energy. So I'm going to mention something. I've said it before when I've gone out around the country and have talked on Heal Yourself to Heal the World. I've mentioned Doreen Virtue. Doreen was a hypnotherapist colleague of mine. She was living in California, and we were both presenting at the American Board of Hypnotherapy conference out there. And by the way, I've won 7 national awards and 2 lifetime achievement in hypnosis, not 6. Um,
Okay,
so,
excuse me, Roxanne. We have 10 more minutes about.
mhm.
So just remember that. And there are probably people that have questions. So if you could, okay, be aware.
So let me finish this with Doreen Virtue. You can take any issue and write down what upsets you about the behavior of someone else. And it could be someone in your life on a regular basis or a public figure. It could also be an issue. So label the issue. And so, for example, Monsanto might be knowingly created a pesticide that is known to poison people, whether they, uh, depending on, doesn't matter when they knew that it was going to be poisonous to people, it is now known as poisonous to people. And yet it's continued to be sold and marketed by them. So the issue is, underneath that is greed or profit at the expense of others. And so you can, uh, when you are going to be healing on that, you can send the healing directly to the consciousness underneath of the greed or profiting at the expense of others, or you could send the healing to, and while you're also looking for what it is within yourself that may resonate. So, for example, have you ever been greedy? Have you ever knowingly sold an object, like a car, used car, that was a clunker, and you withheld the information that it was a clunker just in order to sell it? So, as you start to examine yourself, it helps a great deal to become less judgmental. That doesn't make the other person or the corporation correct. What it does is allows you to dialogue. From that dialogue, change can occur. Okay, so Joan, do you have questions in the chat?
Okay, I just unmuted myself. I'd like to have people raise their hand by using the icon at the top of their screen if they have a question for Roxanne. If you have something to say. I know people have, Nancy has been typing in the chat room almost the whole time, but I think it's more responses. Okay, Linda Aronson has a question, and I've unmuted you, Linda. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Roxanne. This is fabulous for both a personal and planetary. I know that you have a new book out. I think it's a manual or protocols for dowsing. Very, very, very comprehensive. Is the work that you presented today in that book?
Okay, can you see this?
Yes, that's the book I'm talking about.
Yeah, Therapeutic Dowsing and Telepathic Healing. I first wrote that in '92, and I've been adding to it ever since. Um, so there are a lot of protocols in that, yes, and there are pages and pages of charts and checklists to find the issues, the addictive thinking, negative beliefs and judgments, uh, secondary gain, all those things. So you have to understand, I am a double Scorpio, which means I go looking for the dirt. They said something about being positive. I believe you clear away the negative, but you then replace it with the positive. If you put the positive in first, you're putting ice cream on top of horse manure. So,
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. But I just thought what you were presenting today was so clear, efficient, comprehensive that I just, I wasn't able to write fast enough. I didn't get all the details.
all right.
And
So,
you were moving fairly fast. So I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if she has all this in her book. That's, yeah.
I do want to say that I put contact information about Roxanne on the chat site, so her email and her website information is on the chat, so you can contact her if you'd like a book. I do have many of her books, and they're wonderful, but you can look on the chat and find her info.
I've written
Okay,
about
go
10
ahead.
books, and for everyone, go to my blog, Unlimited Potential Healing Center, and you'll see a lot of articles which include protocols for a lot of different things. For example, clearing the mass consciousness. Also, on my website, there's a section that says, on the banner, it says protocols or dowsing protocols or something. So you can find it both from my website and my blog. A lot of these protocols I have put out there because I feel time is of the essence. We're really faced with so much negativity, and so we want to clear it away. But all healing starts with the self. It has to start with you first. The Let me go through a summary quick, and then I'll take any other questions. To summarize, you start with grounding, centering, connecting to source, and increasing your vitality. If you want to send out a blessing, you have to get your energy field up. You have to be grounded. You have to be fully in your body in order to really make a difference with a positive intention. You clear away negative psychic and mass consciousness. You heal your own emotional baggage that's being triggered. You focus on one or more problems that really upset you and send the energy underneath that issue, because it's a consciousness that creates the problem. You can also address the high self of those who've suffered and send healing to them. This does a great deal to heal your heartache. So I do that one a lot. You can ask spirit to turn every experience into a blessing. And don't think you're being crazy. Just do it. Ask to turn it into a blessing. Send healing to how this triggers you, because it's probably a past similar experience, whether it's this life or before. Send healing to anything else about the problem or issue that resonates within yourself. Because you clear yourself, you're not going to be pulling those kind of things to you. Now, there's a lot of dark energies involved. Anytime there's evil, there's dark energies. Before you go to clear it, you have to see if you're up for it. And that's another topic. There are many people like Nick Saltzman that are involved with it. Chick does it his own way. Barbara Stone, her husband. There are many dowsers that work on clearing dark energies. So again, hold the intention to turn the problem into a blessing, and envision the positive opposite of the problem being manifest without being fixed on who's going to be there. So, and as I said, don't get fixated on what politician is going to be leading you. Focus on what the healing of the country would represent. And then you ask, what is mine to do in this situation? What is mine to do? So before you can get an answer on knowing what's yours to do, you have to be clear. You have to be calm and centered. And that's why we clear all the crap away first. Okay, any other questions?
Joan, you're muted. Oh, I muted myself. Okay.
One?
Linda's hand is still up, so click on it, Linda. And we do have a couple questions in the chat room. What kind of answer do you get? Let's see. What kind of answer do you get to what is mine to do? Oops, Phil, how about if you talk it? Are you able to use your audio?
Thanks, Jane.
Okay.
What it's going to be different for every person. Some people are going to work on clearing up water, dirty water. Some people are going to be working on increasing food supplies. Some people are going to be working on raising awareness, on actually helping children or food pantries. It's going to be different for everyone. My work is to help people exactly as I am right now. So,
okay. Phil asked.
No, Phil, the answer isn't yes or no. So let's go back to how can you know what your answer is? You can write down possible things you're thinking about. So let's say, for example, you're a farmer and you're a teacher and you're a dowser. You write down all the various things that you think might be your work, and then douse out, what does your soul want you to do? And it might be more than one thing. So for me, it's teaching, writing, and speaking, or working with clients. So it's a three-pronged approach. That's mine to do.
Are there any other questions? We have 2 more minutes. Okay, let's see. We do have another question. Cynthia, I'm unmuting you. Go ahead.
Hey, Roxanne. Awesome. Just really wanted to tell you that. You just rock and you just keep on going.
I can't tell you the things I've learned the hard way. So when I was talking about clearing dark energies, it's because if you are dealing with negativity, it doesn't matter if it's the people you live with, the people in your neighborhood, the people you work with, you're not going to be at your best. And so you have to clear all that stuff away and do whatever you can to always ground center and connect to source. There has to be some kind of balance. So I don't believe, let me say this before we end, I don't believe um, you can just think love and light. I think you also have to take action. There was a saying in the Revolutionary War, there's a Protestant minister from New Jersey, from Elizabeth, I think, uh, one of those towns in New Jersey. And during the Revolution, he said, "Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition." And if you think about Gandhi, he didn't just meditate, he led civil disobedience as what he was called to do. When I called up the some people who followed, well, I called up the publisher for David Hawkins, and I said, did he, if he was alive today, what would he be advocating? Would he advocate any activism, for example? And I was told that no, he would not. He felt that everything going on in the world was actually an illusion, and so what we should just do is focus on raising our vibration, because it's what's really going on is not what we think is going on. But I said, well, what about Gandhi? He didn't just do nothing. And what she said, or this woman at the publishing house, was that you would, as you're working on raising your own vibration, you'll then be guided as to what is yours to do. So that's for each of us. There is a saying that for evil to survive, good people have only to do nothing. So I think we are each being called to do something, and it can work uh, on healing our own consciousness, because we make it easier for others to change theirs. And we certainly, if you're just pointing a finger that these people are bad, they're evil, they're all bad, but you're not looking at yourself, then you're also part of the problem. We need to be able to dialogue. You can't dialogue if you're pointing the finger that you're evil. You have to have a way of recognizing you're all part of common humanity. And so if you hate Bill Gates, tend to go there. Not exactly hate, but in other words, I judge him. I will tell you, I judge Bill Gates. Uh, but on the other hand, he's part of humanity. So if I should get to the point of hatred, I would be hating like my finger, my toe, my arm, my leg. It doesn't make sense. The point is to heal and bring us all into one. So, anything else?
Thank you, Roxanne. Appreciate that. We are at the top of the
Thank
hour,
you.
and it's been an excellent presentation. Joan, are you back on?
Oh, yes, I am.
Great. Thank you.
I didn't go away. There was just a interruption for a second. So I want to thank everybody for coming on to Roxanne Louise's talk. And I did post her information again lower down on the chat. So you're welcome to copy that, but do it quickly because we're about to close this call because we have someone else that has to start in just a couple minutes. Thank you, Roxanne, and always wonderful to see you.
Love you all.